Hello and welcome to another edition of The Garden Show with myself, Paul Kerwin. We're coming to you here from the Garden Centre in Homeland in Westport, and I want to talk to you today about lawn care. You may be looking out at your lawn on a Sunday morning thinking, how am I ever going to get it back to the position that it was in last summer when it was looking all nice and green and weed free and moss free. And I'm going to show you some different ways and methods that you can tackle the moss and the weed in the lawn in the coming months. There are many traditional ways of tackling moss in the lawn, for example. And one of the reasons that moss is in the lawn in the first place is normally due to the fact that the soil is anaerobic, or there's no air in the soil. It has become very compacted and there's no way for the water to drain away and no way to get air into it. Now, one of the traditional ways of doing it was to aerate the soil or aerate the lawn with either a fork or an aerator that you can hire, or you could scarify it, therefore removing a lot of the thatch which is in the lawn. Now, both of these processes take a long time and they're very arduous, but there are other methods that you can use to tackle moss and weeds in the lawn. They aren't as difficult to do and actually have a better result. So I'm going to show you a few of these now. First of all, you can put what's called a 3-in-1 feed in the lawn. 3-in-1 means it does 3 different things in one pack. Now, if you want to tackle weeds, you're going to have to think about putting some kind of a weed killer. This particular one is 2,4-D. If you want to fertilize the lawn, obviously you're going to have to put down some sort of fertilizer such as Growmore or 7,6-17. Or if you want to tackle the moss in the lawn, you're going to have to put down some sort of a chemical to kill the moss. In this case, it would be sulphate of iron. Now, instead of doing all these 3 things separately, you can actually do it in one bag or in one go. This is our own Homeland 3-in-1 lawn, feed and weed killer and moss killer, and it's a granular fertilizer that you can put out either with a fertilizer spreader or by hand and with a bucket. And one bag covers about 400 square meters, so there's nearly more than enough in this for the average size lawn. Now, in doing this, you must make sure that there's at least 8 hours of no rain after putting it out, because the different chemicals within the bag, which is the sulphate of iron for the moss and the weed killer for the weeds, need to have the time to act and to take action on the moss and the weeds. The moss, it will actually turn black, so the lawn will have this black appearance. This is actually quite normal. It's just a chemical reaction between the sulphate of iron and the leaf of the grass, and the weeds will start to yellow and disappear. So after about 2 to 3 weeks, you'll suddenly see the lawn starting to take on a whole new appearance. Now, just on the point of mowing the lawn, always be sure that when you mow the lawn that you mow it in a different direction every time. Because if you keep mowing the lawn in the same direction, the grass actually starts to grow in that direction, and you start to see these ruts appearing in the lawn. So where possible, and it might not be possible, try and change the position that you mow the lawn, and that causes the grass to mesh in correctly. Now, sticking with the moss problem in the lawn, there are 2 other products that you can use on the lawn which kills the moss in a really successful way. One is a product called Mobacter, and the other is another product called Biopress. This is a liquid method and this is a granular method. With Mobacter, we brought this to the market about 2 years ago, and it has become hugely successful. It's unique because it's an organic way of tackling the moss. Basically, the compound within it kills the moss at an organic level, at a microbial level, and when the moss starts to die, the bacteria within the thatch or that layer of the lawn starts to eat away at it and it digests it. It actually doesn't blacken the lawn at all, so you don't get that chemical reaction that you get with sulphate of iron, and it's applied in exactly the same way as the 3-in-1. You just put it out in a granular fashion, and it does have certain stipulations. You do need a soil and air temperature of 12 degrees in order for the bacteria to have to take action with the moss. So make sure that it's above 12 degrees, so you're looking at applying it from, say, mid-April onwards, and you'll start to see an effect within 21 days. Secondly, we have Biopress, which is a liquid alternative to these other products. You can mix it up, and at the rate that's on the label, put it out with a sprayer, so it gets, if you like, to the root of the problem, if you excuse the pun, and you'll start to see an effect within 24 hours. In the next episode of The Garden Show, I'll be looking at the different organic methods of gardening. We can always use traditional ways of gardening in dealing with pests and fungus and weeds in the garden, but Homeland are able to offer you many different organic methods. So we'll be looking at each of those methods and making sure that if you want to garden organically, that we're giving you the best advice and the best choice in doing so. So join us then and we'll see you soon.